What is up, valid peeps? Kaydiant here. 2024 is nearly over, and much like the last couple of years, I'll be ending it with a Q&A. Last month I asked you all to send me questions on my YouTube community tab and Bluesky, and in this video I'll be answering them. With all that being said, let's get started. Very unexpectedly, I did end up getting a question on my Patreon. Been a while since I last mentioned it here at all, so this is a good excuse to say, you can join my Patreon for just £2 a month. You'll be able to get behind the scenes content of my videos as I work on them, like future video thumbnails, exclusive video updates, some Patreon exclusive content, and you'll be able to see videos like this one a day before they release to the public. If that sounds good to you, and you want to support a small creator like myself in putting out more videos, as long as you're financially able to, then join today. The link to it will be up in the cards, down in the description, and at the end of the video. Anyways, my one and only Patreon question comes from my good friend Sunny Go Lucky. If I'm fine to ask one here, what's a form or piece of Toku media that you've either anticipated this year, or are currently anticipating next year? Thanks, Sunny. So in terms of stuff from this year, there's one that easily sat at the top of the pile above the rest. Kamen Rider Gotchard: The Future Daybreak. The trailers and positive reviews really hyped it up, and it made me extremely looking forward to see it for myself, even admittedly getting a little impatient at times. And having seen it subbed now, I can definitely say the wait was worth it. Go watch it if you haven't already, I highly recommend it. As for stuff coming next year, it'd have to be another piece of Gotchard content. Kamen Rider Gotchard Graduations. As I'll explain in an answer to a later question, it's a film I'm very much looking forward to, and I hope it will be a good ending to Gotchard. Most of my questions came from my YouTube community tab, so I'll start over there. My first question is from Japan Octo Warrior. Hope you're doing well and keep doing the great work. Also, here's my question. In any Kamen Rider, do you know what characters aren't humans and just Kamen Riders such as Bujin Gaim, etc.? I'm doing well, and thank you. Bit of an oddly phrased question to start off with, to be honest, but I think I get what you're asking. Limiting this to the shows I've seen, I don't think there have been many riders that don't have a civilian identity. The main one that comes to mind is Ginga from Geo. The ARC can't transform into Arc Zero without a host, so I guess they count. Would Swell Gazer and Regard Omega count because we never see Swell's face behind his mask? Kamen Rider Tassel from the Saber Final Stage would definitely count. Actually, I suppose the GM Riders from Geats would also count because we only ever see them controlled by glare. If we want to get obscure, well, I haven't read it. Ragnarok from the 01 comics by Stonebot Comics would count from the research I've done on him. Interesting question, Japan Octo Warrior. Thank you. Question 2 is from PikaTwig16. What are you hoping for out of the Gotchard V cinema, in terms of plot, suits, or just anything you want to talk about regarding the project? Ah yes, Kamen Rider Gotchard Graduations. I got a lot to say about this. First of all, the poster for the film looks absolutely gorgeous. The way they're doing this V cinema feels very reminiscent of Saber's V cinema Trio of Deep Sin, where rather than focusing on one specific character, it focuses on a group of them. In both films' cases, it's their respective main rider trios. And I'm hoping Graduations pulls off the trio focus aspect as well as Trio of Deep Sin did. Backon is back once again to perform the film's theme song, aptly named Graduations, and given all the bangers they pulled off throughout Gotchard, with Kemi Story, The Sky's the Limit, and The Future Daybreak, I'm hoping this one will be just as good, and hopefully better placed in the film than creators and dangerously were in Geats' Yamato Awakening. Now, since this question was asked, a couple suits for the film were revealed. A new form for Valvarad, Valvarad GT, and the film's main villain, Ouroboros. So, Valvarad GT. Honestly, given Valvarad's evolution to Valvarad Kurogane at the end of the main show, I definitely did not expect GT to actually end up still being used. Especially since the original Valvarad driver was broken beyond repair, I don't see why Spanner would go back to using it when he has something very much stronger. Unless it's not Spanner, which is honestly what I'm hoping for. The GT variants of Gigantliner and Dione look neat, and I like that the latter is riding back wheel on its card art, effectively making GT a free Kemi form as opposed to the usual two. Design-wise, the new added colours and train motif very much remind me of King Express Tribune from Machine Sentai Karameja. And I don't know if it's the fact I set my expectations a little high for this form given the design I commissioned JK5201 to make for it earlier this year just before Gigant Liner was officially revealed, but I'm a tad disappointed by it, being basically just a custom with a new visor. Maybe if the colour scheme was spread throughout the design rather than being confined to the newly added parts, I'd like it more, but for what we have, it's not the worst thing ever. As for Ouroboros, their design looks awesome and even a little creepy. I'm really glad they're going back to touch on the Ouroboros realm for the film, given how it pretty much dropped out of relevance after Gerion's first defeat in the main show. All in all, I'm interested to see this villain's involvement in Graduations, along with the film as a whole, when it eventually releases. My third and fourth questions are both from the same person, Proper Neko. Their first question was, will there be more videos on Super Sentai and Power Rangers? Super Sentai is a definite yes. While I don't have any video ideas for Sentai in the cards right now, it's one of the big three of Tokusatsu and I'd be remiss to never make a video on it again. Power Rangers though, I have to say, is very likely no, unfortunately. The only major stuff for it nowadays is comic related, which isn't a medium I follow closely in any franchise really, and none of the other stuff for it seems all that hopeful. Honestly, the Exo Strike Ranger from my Kaydiant series came at a bit of a weird time. There was a bit of Power Ranger stuff going on back when I was creating her and her gear, but there was hardly anything significant going on by the time the video featuring her came out. Proper Neko's second question was, have you heard of Sekata Sanshiro? His actor was the original Kamen Rider if I remember correctly. While I'm not a Sega girl, I have indeed heard of Sekata Sanshiro, and yeah, they were played by the same guy who played the original Kamen Rider, Fujioka Hiroshi. And actually, fun fact, he shares a birthday with my mum, both being February 19th, albeit not the same year of birth. My fifth question is from Lucas Excalibur 8278, and they asked favourite forms as of now. So, since this is a bit of a general question, rather I'm gonna give my favourite forms that have debuted this year. Gotchard gave plenty of good new forms this year. Majade, Valvarad, Iron Gotchard, Platina Gotchard, Legendary Legend, Rainbow Gotchard, Twilight Majade, and Valvarad Kurogane, along with the 3 future Daybreak forms, Miracle Gotchard, Gotchard Shining Daybreak, and Dorado. I've liked most of Geats' post-series forms. Buff-Implosion Rage, Doom's Geats, and Gazer Zero, along with Next Fies, Next Kaiser, and Muse from Fies Paradise Regained. And out of the 4 new Outsiders forms this year, Zero 3 and Evol X have been my favourites, though especially the latter. Gav hasn't had all that many forms so far, but his Fuamalo, Chokodan, Gurukan, and Kaking forms, along with Valen's Chokodon form, have been the best ones in my opinion. Sentai-wise, the only ones to really grab my attention have been Kwakata Oja Carnival, Gabitira Kyoryu Red, and Blue Red 119, though the Boomerangers champion forms have been pretty fun as well, I'll say. In the Ultraman department, Arc hasn't been that strong form-wise either, but Lunar Armor had a pretty strong debut, Solace Armor doesn't look that bad, and Galaxy Armor has my favourite combination of design and powers. Question number 6 comes from Kamen Rider Owl 25330. If Vulcan's your favourite rider, then what's your favourite form of Vulcan, and also why do you like him? My favourite rider is Blades, by the way, I mean the one from Saber. Whenever I say Blades, some people think I'm talking about Kamen Rider Blade from Blade. Fair about the Blade and Blades mix up there honestly, but anyways, my boy Kamen Rider Vulcan is Samufua. Spoilers for 01 Others Vulcan and Valkyrie incoming. For those unaware, he is currently my favourite overall Kamen Rider in the franchise. Though my favourite form of his, I'd say, is either Assault Wolf or Rampage Vulcan, though Lone Wolf isn't a terrible one either. As for why I like him, factoring in his suit designs, for his character and character development, he has my favourite combination of them I've seen out of any rider. His way of only following his own rules and fighting the way he did was truly cool, and as controversial as his death in 01 Others was, I'm honestly not dissatisfied by it. And I don't think it was a bad ending for his character. Rest in peace, my beloved Blue Wolf boy. You fought well and hard to the very end, and you will be missed. Next, Soundwave Does Things asks, what are your future Kaydiant verse plans? So for the patrons watching, this won't be completely new information, but the next KDFest video has been underway for a good while now. I know over on my Patreon I have said the next one was going to be the last one, but to be honest, I'm not so certain on that right now, as my plans for it have been in a lot of fluctuation the past few weeks. I don't think it'll be the last one anymore, but all I can say for certain right now is that the next KDFest video will have at least 3 new additions, though I won't spoil what those additions will be. A somewhat related question comes from Necrom002. What are some things you like outside of Toku? So a lot of these are covered by KDFest entries, but my entries outside of Tokusatsu include Minecraft, Ben 10, Pokemon, Gundam, Pretty Cure, Transformers, Lego, particularly Bionicle, Ninjago and Hero Factory, and Bakugan, and to a lesser extent Skylanders, Thunderbirds, DC, Marvel, and Doctor Who. This next question comes from Enrusion15, and that was, favourite Gav form at the moment? Well, Gav hasn't had all that many forms so far, but out of all the ones I mentioned in my answer to the favourite forms of the year question, while scripting this video it was gonna be Guru-kan. As of recording this, K-King just debuted, and excuse the pun, but that one definitely takes the cake for being my favourite Gav form right now. Its combination of design and powers is really unique and cool, and it had a great debut too. Second though, as aforementioned, would definitely have to be his Guru-kan form. I love this Mecha Cell form, his Gatling and shoulder cannon armaments are very fun add-ons, and the finisher unleashing both of them plus himself is awesome. As silly as the helmet looks, it makes sense, and I honestly can't help but love Guru-kan as a whole. Oh, this is a question from someone I recognise. Hey Thunder! Hey Kay, this is a bit of a different question, but what's been your favourite video game soundtrack or OST to go back and listen to recently? Not necessarily you've listened to every song in the album, but 1 or 2 that you love to go back to. Also, how have you been? I've been good, thank you very much for asking. So, I don't really listen to OSTs of anything to be honest. Pokemon and Minecraft have pretty iconic ones, so I'll have to stray outside of just video games to properly answer this question. While the transformation track of Hiragara Sky Pretty Cure, Sky Mirage Tone Connect is a pretty good one. One track from the OST of the movie Pretty Cure All-Star Zeph has been in my playlists ever since I saw the movie earlier this year. Precure Yomigaeru Omoi, translating as Pretty Cure Resurrected Feelings, the longest track in the film at just under 10 minutes, is absolutely beautiful, fitting its scene perfectly and has made me cry a few times while listening to it. Another question from another friend, and it's in fact someone who's helped on the KDverse, Duck's Aquarium, aka Jess. Hey sis, out of all the alternate versions of you that are a part of the KDverse right now, is there one that you like the most compared to the others? Thanks for the question sis! Well, being the Toku fan that I am, I've definitely got some bias towards the 4 Toku ones. And out of those, my favourite definitely has to be the Kamen Rider entry, Kamen Rider Ambira. Of the ones released right now, it's one I've fleshed out a fair bit, both in her content and her lore. There is one that will be appearing in the next KDverse video that I've grown quite fond of from how much time I've put into them and might replace Ambira, but that's not out yet, so they won't be counted. My last YouTube community post questions both come from the Perfox. Hiya Katie, I'm here using my forgotten YouTube account with 2 questions by the way. 1, do you have any favourite Toku show aside from the Giant 4, Kamen Rider, Sentai, Power Rangers and Ultraman? 2, what are your top 3 favourite animated movies that you enjoyed the most? Well, I can't say I've ever heard of a Giant 4 of Toku being referred to before, but outside of those, I have seen a few that I consider favourites. I can't decide which I like the most, so I'll say all 3. Tokusatsu Gagaga, The High School Heroes, and Girl Gun Lady. As for my top 3 favourite animated movies, in no particular order, I'd have to pick Pretty Cure All-Star Zeph, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and Nimona. Now for the Bluesky questions. Returning to questions from friends, my first one comes from Stacey Fort. Would you rather have unlimited Hopper ones but no Steamliners, or unlimited Steamliners but no Steamliners? Sis, what kind of question is this? Well, that second option is a bit of a paradox, so I'm gonna have to say unlimited Hopper ones but no Steamliners. As cool as Team Niner is, Hopper One easily has them be in the cuteness department. Don Buffer asks, "Quick, you have a bomb strapped to your chest. What Toku character do you trust to disarm it?" Oh, jeez, Goober, what the heck? Why? Yamagust's quite the tech knowledge, so I'll say him. If he can't manage it, then I'd say George Karasaki. My final question from Bluesky and of this video as a whole comes from Get Ready for Toku. Can I recommend an idol group called Franchocho? And also, it's been a while since I interacted with someone on the internet, which for me is good for my mental health since I stopped interacting with Twitter, but still reposting the things that are happening in the world. I'm not entirely gone, and how are you? I'm good, thanks for asking. Good on you for getting away from Twitter and looking after your mental health. Idol stuff isn't really within my interests, to be totally honest, but I appreciate you giving the recommendation anyways. And with that was the end of 2024 Q&A, and this will be it for me this year. Admittedly, I haven't been as frequent with videos as I had hoped to be at the start of the year, mainly because real life was unexpectedly busy and I was putting more time into working on my mental health and spending time with my friends, but I'm glad I got some videos out anyway, in fact some of them being my most viewed ones in a long time. Thank you all of you valid peeps for your continued support. I'm very nearly at 2,000 subscribers, so here's to hoping I can get there very soon. Well, scrap that! A few minutes before recording this, I just hit 2,000 subscribers. This is recorded on the 17th of December 2024. Thank you all so much. I can't believe I actually made it to 2k before the end of the year. Thank you so much. With all of that being said, have a very happy holiday season, and I shall see all of you next time in 2025.